Okay, let's do the packet first in this video. Graph the equation again. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so number in front of the x is our slope because that's the letter m, and then b is a y-intercept. So I'm going to graph the line using my slope and y-intercept. Slope, y-int. I'll get a pencil. Okay, so my y-intercept is a number that isn't multiplied by x, which is -4, free of the x. Remember, that's an xy coordinate. So on the y-axis, I go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then my slope is the number, it's a ratio, and we got 2, so it'd be 2 over run. Now remember what a slope is, it's rise over run. Not run over rise, rise over run. So it's positive, so I go up 2, and then I run 1 unit to the right every time. The ratio repeats itself. For every 1 unit, 2 units I rise, I run 1 to the right. 1, 2, 1. 2, 1. Okay, then I take a ruler and just make the line. Okay, next one. Y equals -3/4x plus 1. Again, you got mx plus b. So slope, y-int. Okay, so the slope is -3. Or no, let's do the y-intercept first. The number free of the x is 1. So you got 0, 1. Okay, so you plot, go up to 1 on the y-axis. Slope is -3/4. Okay, so it's a rise of -3, so that means it's down. And a 4, the 4 is still positive, so you're still running 4 forward. So you go down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. So I take my ruler and connect the points. Line on both, arrows on both ends. Now, what you're doing on the assignment is different. There's nothing on the back, okay? It's just graphing paper. Now you have to take the line and get back to the equation. And there's a technique to do it. So you don't need a calculator, none of that. You go equals y in the front, and then you go blank x, because we need a number to go in front of that x, plus blank. And I need to find out what numbers they are. I need to find out my slope m, my y-intercept b. Now the b is easy to find. You find where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, there's where it crosses the y-axis. I got to get the 2 points now. That's the first point we use. That is up 1, 2, 3. So 3 is my b. Now, to find the slope, you need another point. Now, look forward from here. Don't ever go backwards. Look forward. You got to mark a point where it's right on the grid, okay? Or it's right on the grid. So, like no grid, road grid. Right there, the line is right on a grid. So I'll make a point there. And then I make the triangle. Well, it ain't much of a triangle. I go down 1, so -1, and forward 2. Okay, so my m, again, it's -1 over 2. Now, that's in simplest terms, so -1/2 is my slope. Y equals -1/2 x plus 3. Okay, now the next one. Something, we got to have something as multiplied by the x plus something else. Okay, so the b. That's the first point where it crosses the y-axis. So that's down 1, 2, 3. So -3 is my b. Now to get a slope, okay, I make a ratio down there, and I have to find another point that directly hits the grid. So no grid, no grid. Right there's the first grid point I see. And you can go up further. You could go up here. It doesn't matter, or here, but I usually pick the very first one. So I make the little triangle. I have to go up 1, 2, +2 because I went over, and then over 1. Okay. So it's +2 over 1. Now if you go 2ABC1, that's 2. I'm fine with a whole number. I just don't want a mixed number. Now down here, I know I didn't do it on the first one. I want you to write that without all the blanks and crap. Just write y equals 2x plus -3. If it's plus negative, just write -3. That's how I want to see it. So up here, I write y equals -1/2 x plus 3. Okay, next one. Y equals something times x plus something else. M and b. Okay, so this is my first point. Well, that's 0. Okay, so my b value is 0. Then I have to go find a point on the grid. No grid, no grid, no grid. Well, right there, right there it's pretty darn close, so I'll make a point right there. So not much of a triangle. I just go down 1, forward 1. So it's -1 over 1. Then I ABC that to simplify it. -1 ABC1. It's -1. Okay, so the equation you're going to write is y equals -1x. And since I have 0, I don't write anything. Okay, that's the equation that would be graphed from that line. M, B. Okay, again, your B is simple. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's up 4, so it's +4. Then I make my triangle, but I need a second point. Okay, no grid, no grid, no grid. Right there, it's right on the grid. Okay. So I make my triangle. I go down 1, 2, so -2, forward 1. So the slope is -2 over 1. Now simplify the slope. -2 ABC1. It's -2. So the equation I write is simply y equals -2x plus 4. Again, that is kind of my answer. Now I just write it without the blanks and without the M and the B. Okay, then the last one, y equals. So you got M, you got B. Okay, so the B is easy to find. It's where it crosses the y-intercept. It's where the line crosses the y-axis. So it's right there, that point there. That's down 2, so it's going to be -2. Now find where it hits the grid. No. Right there is close, but you can see that's below the grid point. And right there is right on the grid, okay? So I make a triangle. I go up 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2. So +3 over 2. Now simplify it. 3ABC2. I don't want that. So then I hit second. ABC equals, and it's 3 over 2. So the equation I want to see is y equals 3 over 2x. If it says plus negative, you should just write a minus, because plus negative and minus mean the same thing. There's your equation. Okay, pause the video and then go do the 4 problems. If you need help, you can come back to my desk, but pause it and then Okay, now the next thing's going to seem completely kind of stupid. You're actually going to find the b, okay, the y-intercept without a graph. They tell you the slope of the line, and they also give one of the coordinates on the line, -3, 4, slope of 6. You are solving for the b. Basically, all you're doing is replacing the y, the m, and the x, okay? That's a skill you have to get familiar with. So the y, I just put a 4 above it. And then the m, I'm going to put a 6 because that is my m. The slope is my m, so that's the number that replaces the m. Times, and then the x is replaced by -3. All this is building up a skill, so the next thing we do is not going to be quite so confusing. Okay, so you have 4. Over here you need to multiply 6 by -3 because that was mx means m times x. So those two numbers I multiply, -18 plus b. Put a 1 in front of your b, dot it, circle it, and you got to get the -18 to 0. So I plus 18. Plus 18. 4 plus 18 is 22. 1 times b. You can divide by 1 or just take it away because it's kind of a worthless step. It'll just still be 22. Okay, next one. Again, this is the equation you use, okay, to find your b. So the y is going to be 2. Y, m, and x are replaced. The b is not, because the b is what I'm solving for. So y is going to be 2. Slope is my m. That's -3. Times, and the x is going to be my 6. So I drop the equals. Here you have a solo 2. Over here you got to multiply -3 by 6. It's -18. Put the 1 in front, dot it, circle it. So I have to take the -18 to 0. So I plus 18, plus 18. So 20 equals 1 times b. You can divide by 1, but it's not really necessary because 20 divided by 1 is still 20. Okay, next problem. Cross out those other 3 variables because you got to find what the b equals. Okay, so the y is -7. My m is 2. My x is -3. 2 times -3 is -6 plus b. Put a 1 in front of the b so it has a multiplier of 1. You got to take your -6 to 0 by adding 6. -7 plus 6 is -1 equals 1 times b. You don't need that 1 there. I mean, you can divide by it, but it's still -1. Okay. xy, and this is my m. So my y is 3. -1/2 is my slope times the x. X is -4. So I drop my equals. I have a solo 3. Now I'm going to take a calculator. It's +2, but 2 plus b. Put a 1 in front. Get your 2 to a 0 by minusing it 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 equals 1 times b. You can, if your multiplier is a 1, you can just get rid of it. So b is 1. Now, pause the video and go do the back side. That's a skill you're going to be, if you don't know it tomorrow, the next day you're going to have problems. Okay, then our next thing has nothing to do with slope, okay? Now, you have a number line. The number line only helps you understand the process. The process, once you get it, doesn't take long. It says the sum of two is in big caps for a reason, consecutive counting integers. An integer is all these numbers I have on the number line, the positives and negatives, anything. It's basically anything that's not a fraction, not a decimal. The sum of two counting integers is 35. Find the two integers. So you need to put up an equation right there. And if I add the two integers, it comes to 35, but I don't know what the integers are. So we're going to have the first integer be x. Now I'm going to pick a number. I'll pick 1, okay? Now the next consecutive integer would be just one space away from 1, okay? It'd be 2. So I'm just moving one space to get a counting number. So my second one I'm going to write as x plus 1, because I don't know what x actually is, okay? But whatever x is, it just goes one space because that's the next consecutive counting number. So x and x plus 1. So when they say counting, it's what you're going to write for your two unknowns. So on this side, you're going to put the x, and then x plus 1. Now put 1s in front of your x's, and you make your v. So that's 2x plus 1 equals 35. So x has a multiplier of 2. I subtract 1, and that's 34. Then I divide by 2, and x equals 17. Now put a comma, and if x is 17, what's 17 plus 1? Well, it's probably 18. Now that makes sense, because if I add 17 and 18, that's 35. That's how I check my answer, okay? So again, counting numbers, two consecutive counting numbers that you don't know, okay? X is the first one, and then the other one is just x plus 1, because it'd be one space further than that. Okay, the sum of two consecutive odd integers is 20. Find the two integers. So it equals 20. So again, the two consecutive odd integers this time. So I'm going to pick two odd integers. I'll pick, they got to be odd though. Let's go 1 and 3. So I'll have x be the first integer. Now to get from 1 to 3, because it's odd, you have to go 2 slots. 1, 2. You skip over the 2 because that ain't odd, so you go 2 slots. So that's x plus 2. So over here I got my first integer x, first odd integer, plus x plus 2. So I combine like terms, it's 2x plus 2 equals 20. So you minus your 2, 18. Divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Can I find the other one? You simply, x is 9. Well, the other one's 9 plus 2, which is 11. So if you add those integers, 9 plus 11, it's 20. Okay, the sum of two consecutive even integers is negative 50. Find the two integers. So when it says, basically when it says odd and even, and when it says just counting, it's x and x plus 1. Okay? Because counting, I just go up by ones. Odd integers, it's every other one, so it's 2. Okay? So x and x plus 2. Okay, equals negative 50. Now, two consecutive even integers, I set it up the same way as the odd integers, okay? X is my first one, so if I have an even integer, I'll pick 2, for example. To get to the next even one, you have to jump 2 spaces. So that's, again, x plus 2. So counting, you jump forward 1 and then forward 2. Okay, and that's x plus 2. You just write those down. 1, 1, combine them, and you have 2x plus 2 equals negative 50. Minus 2, that's negative 52. Negative 50 minus 2. Then I divide by 2, and x equals negative 26. So now that I know that x is negative 26, now I'm going to take the negative 26 and add 2. It'll move it 2 forward. That's negative 24. Again, when you get your first answer, you just add 2, and that's your other number. So add those negative 26 plus negative 24, that's negative 50, just like the problem says. Now, last one, the sum of 3 consecutive odd integers is 57. Find the 3 integers. This time there are 3 of them. So they equal 57. Okay, so my first one I'm going to call x. Don't know what it is. Now, if I take an odd integer, I have to jump 2 spaces to get to the next one. So that's x plus 2. Now, the next one's kind of confusing. It really is. So, take this odd integer 3, for example. To get to 5, it's x plus 2. Now, to get from 3 to the next one, it's 4. Okay? So, again, because x would start in a place like 3, and I go 2 forward to get to the next one. That's where the x plus 2 comes from. Now I go back to the 3, and to get to the odd integer after the 5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's x plus 4. So again, that's how that works. From the original value, okay? I'd have to jump 2 spaces to get to the next one, the next odd one, and then I go back to the original, and then to get to the one after that, I jump 4 places. Okay, so I've got x plus 2 plus x plus 4. Now, you got 3 x's, but they're all on the same side. So you're going to make that v and just add them all together. That's going to be 3x. And then I'm also going to add the 2 and the 4. That's going to be 6. Okay, so I dot circle minus 6 minus 6. That's 51. Then I divide by 3. And 51 divided by 3 is 17. Now, I take 17 plus 2, now I'm at 19. Then I take 17 plus 4, okay, because x is 17. 17 plus 2 is 19. 17 plus 4 is 21. Now add those together, see if they add up to 57. Yup. Okay, so again, counting integers is x and x plus 1. 2 consecutive odd integers is x and x plus 2. 2 consecutive even integers, first that I don't know, first to be x, the next one will be x plus 2. Sum of 3 consecutive odd integers, 57. So that'd be x and x plus 2, but then the other one's x plus 4. Because from that original, to get to the next even, you'd have to jump 2 places, and back to the original to get to the even after that, or odd to get after that would be 4 spaces.